Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Kissinger at the Citizenship Academy in Syracuse, New York, and this is 5th grade math module 6, lesson 5. We're going to investigate patterns in vertical and horizontal lines and interpret points on the plane as distances from axes. So we're going to continue plotting on our coordinate plane. And if we look at our first problem here, our first set of instructions, it says use the coordinate plane to answer the following questions. So letter A says use a straight edge to construct a line that goes through points A and B and label this line G. And you start to notice all these lines, when we label a line, usually we use a cursive letter rather than a printed letter. That's just kind of a mathematical tradition. We usually have the line. We're going to use that cursive rather than a print lettering. So we'll follow suit with that when we label this line, and I'm going to label it letter G. And then it says line G is parallel to the blank axis and is perpendicular to the blank axis. So it's parallel to my x-axis. Looks like it's perpendicular to my y-axis. And perpendicular is when the two lines cross and make a 90-degree angle. So if we look right here, we have this 90-degree angle. Those lines are perpendicular, and then parallel lines just run next to each other and will never touch. So it's parallel to the x-axis, and it is perpendicular to the y-axis. All right, so draw two more points or two more coordinates on line G. Name them C and D. So we have to make two more points on this line. And I guess I'll just put one right here, and let's put one over here. We have C and D. Now it says give the coordinates of each point below. So we have A, B, C, and D now. If we look at letter A, our x value is going to be, well, it's 1 less than 5, so that'll be 4. And it looks like we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'll be 4, comma 8. Our x coordinate is 4, and our y coordinate is 8. And letter B, our x coordinate, well, it's 1 less than 10, so that's going to be 9. And our y coordinate will still be 8. We're going to see that anything along this line G, well, our y coordinate is going to stay the same because it's a straight line. It's going to go right along the 8, right along number 8. So 8 will be the value of our y coordinate anywhere on that line G. Our point C, coordinate C, will be 5, 6, 7, and 8. 7, 8. And then D, well, D is 11. Again, our y value will still be 8. So what do all the points on line G have in common? Well, as we were just saying, they all have a y coordinate of 8. All right, and then letter F says give the coordinates of another point that falls on line G with an x coordinate greater than 25. So we can make our x coordinate anything greater than 25. Let's go with 26. 26 is greater than 25. And then our y-coordinate, of course, is still going to be 8. So anything with the y-coordinate of 8 will be on that line G. It could be 26. Let's give another example. We could do 127 with 8 as our y-coordinate. So anything with 8 as our y-coordinate will be on that line G. Let's look at our next page here. It says plot the following points on the coordinate plane to the right. So we have H, I, J, and K. H is 3/4, comma 3. So we have 3/4 as our x-coordinate and 3 as our y-coordinate. Let's find 3/4. It looks like here's a half. So each one of these little squares here is going to be a quarter or a fourth. So we have 1/4, 2/4, which is a half, 3/4. So 3/4 would be right here. And then we have to go all the way up this line until we get to 3. And 3 is all the way up top. And that will be point H. It looks like I is going to be 3/4 and 2 1/4. So we are on the same x value here. And we have 3/4. And then we have 2. Well, here's 2 1/2. And right between 2 1/2, 2 and 2 1/2 will be 2 1/4. 2, and then one more square up is 1/4. So 2 1/4. I. J is also going to be on 3/4 as next value, but it's going to be 3/4 and 1/2. Here's J. Then point K is 3/4 and 1 3/4. So we have 1, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. This will be K. So we have H, I, J, and K. And it says use a straight edge to draw a line to connect these points and label it line F. That's a little cursive F right there. So I'm going to use my ruler and we're going to connect all these points to the line. And we're going to call this line F. All right, so that's line F. In line F, x equals, well, our x value, if we look at all of our x values here, they're all 3/4 for all values of y. Circle the correct word. So it says line F is parallel or perpendicular to the x-axis. Well, this time we are perpendicular to the x-axis. Again, I would make a little right angle right there between those two lines. So line F is perpendicular to the x-axis, which means it's going to be parallel to the y-axis. So in essence, if it's parallel or perpendicular to the y-axis, it's going to be parallel to the y-axis. If anytime it's parallel to the y-axis, it's going to be perpendicular to the x-axis. And then what pattern occurs in the coordinate pairs that make line F vertical? So what pattern occurs in the coordinate pairs that make line F vertical? We are going to see that the x value is always the same number. I don't think there's a whole lot of room to write that there, but fit it right there. And then it says, this next one is number 3. For each pair of points below, think about the line that joins them. For which pairs is the line parallel to the x-axis? Circle your answers. without plotting them and explain how you know. So we have 3.2 and 7 and 5 and 7. So if our y value is the same in both of those numbers, we know that our line is going to be a horizontal line because it's going to be parallel to our x-axis. So which pairs are parallel to the x-axis? Well, A will be parallel to the x-axis. Next one we have 8, 8.4, and 8, 8.8. Well, our x values are the same, so this is going to look a whole lot like this line up here. That one's going to be perpendicular to the x-axis, so that one is not parallel to the x-axis. And then our last one here, we have 6.5, 12, and 6.2, 11. Those don't have anything in common. So that one's also not going to be parallel to the x-axis. So just letter A. Then we have to do the same thing here except with the y-axis. So we have 3.2, 8.5. And we have 3.22, 24. So for which pairs is the line parallel to the y-axis now? So we're looking for two x values that are the same. Well, these x values are not the same. Here we have 13 and a third, 4 and 2/3, 13 and a third, 7. So these two x values are the same. Then we have 2.9, 5.4, 7.2, 5.4. These y values are the same, but the x values are not. So then we have to give two other coordinate pairs that would fall onto this line. We could do 12 or 13 and a third, and we'll do 12 as our y value. And we could do 13 and 1/3, and let's say 2 and 2/3 is the y value. So as long as our x values are the same, as long as they're going to be 13 and a third, they will fall on that same line. So that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.